I just finished my case study number 2 of how specialty retailers are succeeding in 2020. I wanted to share with you one of my clients. They're an outdoor specialty store, and they increased their cash positioning in 2020 in 6 months during COVID-19 business closures and quarantine. They increased their cash positioning by 29% by using ManagementONE with my guidance. And they had a will and a way, or where there's a will, there's a way to improve your performance as a retailer. They just needed a little bit of help. So that's what we were able to provide for them. So my name is Carrie Watson, and I am a specialty retail consultant. I have corporate buying experience and know-how, and what I do is I bring that expertise to specialty retailers. I first-handedly have experienced using ManagementONE inventory intelligence software to guide my cash flow, to guide my purchasing decisions, and to provide us with 12-month forward-looking forecasts. These roadmaps include 12 forward-looking months of sales, inventory, receiving goals, and it's just a complete roadmap to inventory success in today's modern retail environment. So let's dig in. So this shop is another specialty outdoor retailer. They are named Treads and Threads in Gunnison, Colorado. They are in an outdoor apparel and footwear shop. They use Lightspeed point of sale, and they've been open since 1998. They've been a staple to the Gunnison, Colorado community with an incredible selection of outdoor apparel and footwear. The owners, Chris and Kelly, pursued a relationship with me and ManagementONE to take their shop to the next level. I have all of this written down if you need to look at it, the text, and if you would like to read along, I'll put the link in the description of this video. For this shop, the challenges, they were starting to feel, they had 3. They were starting to feel cramped on their visual merchandising space because it was really limited. At the start of our relationship together, the sales floor was immensely merchandised, and it was very densely merchandised. The shop owned storage spaces, and they were also considering expanding their physical footprint to showcase all of the merchandise that they had in stock. The second challenge, they were very passionate about the merchandise that they were carrying. A major challenge for this team is that they are personally passionate about the product that they carry and the product that they sell. The ownership of their inventory grew to a point where it ate into the operational cash flow fund, and it started to create financial challenges for the operation. Sales forecasting was their third challenge. Tourists make up the most of the shopping traffic in Gunnison, Colorado. This creates a non-traditional selling cycle that is more challenging to forecast than a typical selling cycle. COVID-19 business closures during 2020 were also happening during the initial year of our initial retail partnership between Treads and Threads, myself, and ManagementONE. So with those 3 key challenges, what we decided to do is create a strategy. And the theme of all of their challenges revolved, quite frankly, around owning too many SKUs and too much merchandise. So the first thing that we did is we created a sales plan and inventory targets. And I worked with ManagementONE to create an ideal class structure to analyze their past sales and to create a 12-month sales forecast that accurately forecasted the non-traditional selling cycle of this community. We gave them monthly inventory goals, and we used that to establish the ideal inventory levels, and we could witness how it would improve the average inventory ownership and ultimately cash flow. So when we talk about inventory turn and average inventory and how much inventory you keep on hand, it's all a matter of how much cash you keep invested in your inventory or owning inventory in your business. And every business has a maximum amount of inventory where you see the return on that investment. But the more and more and more and more you invest in inventory, that does not always translate into a relevant increase in sales. And so that's where this retailer was at. They had invested in inventory to the point where it was just their sales were starting to suffocate, and no longer were they really making full price merchandise sales. They were having to discount in order to make their sales targets. So the second part of our strategy is we decided to slow down the rate of how they received product, and we needed their sell-through to catch up. So we had this incredible atmosphere of selling down existing merchandise and receiving less because we had to get their average inventory ownership down during this point. So basically, they cashed out on all the merchandise that they had already paid invoices on. So their inventory went from here to like right here. And then they received maybe a few new additional things, like their bestsellers, refill of the best-selling colors and styles and sizes, but we kept that amount really, really low. So it only increased their inventory a little bit. So because we weren't spending a whole lot of additional, we weren't reinvesting that into product, because here the ultimate goal is to reduce the average inventory. This retailer all of a sudden cashed out on their existing merchandise. And so with the help of ManagementONE, we gave them a targeted approach to which categories were overstocked and which categories needed to be shrunk. And so they shrank their average inventory in these high risk classifications, and they increased their turn. And like I said, we strongly believe that a shop should never stop receiving new, fresh merchandise. And we always want the retailer to achieve their goals in a balanced way. So because of that approach, they slowed down the rate of receiving of their new merchandise, and they only received the best of the best and the greatest of the merchandise from all their best brands, their best relationships. And then they purposefully sold through the older merchandise that they really didn't need anymore. And we created many creative promotions that encouraged higher sell-through of both the older stock and some of the new stock too. And the third piece of strategy is we had to address the sales staff and visual merchandising changes. So the shop, since they owned a ton of really great stock, but it was so densely merchandised that the merchandising expectations visually needed to change as the inventory shrunk, as the inventory changed. So instead of maybe being offended when customers, staffers, or maybe even ourselves think that this shop looks like, oh, we're going out of business, or it looks like it doesn't have enough merchandise, we really had to be we had to move ahead of that and kind of change the expectations that yes, the store is going to look different and we have new and different priorities, and so it's going to be translated with more room in the shop, so that we can re-merchandise differently. So I've already kind of told you some of the results, but some of the really finite results. All of these changes happened during 6 months of 2020. And we're talking like June to November. So during 2020, there's year-to-date sales increased almost 4% during the COVID business closures. Their inventory ownership reduced by 29% from the maximum that they had in 2020 to the minimum that they had in 2020. Again, those peaks were only 6 months apart, and they still have work to do. So they're going to continue to cash out on some of this older merchandise. And actually, now that the season's kind of changing back, they'll be able to cash out on a different season of old merchandise. But they've just seen an incredible influx of cash available because they're not replacing 100% of the goods that they're selling. They're letting that average inventory decrease on purpose. Another result is their visual merchandising changed. So shopping the floor initially was really challenging due to the store's dense visual merchandising. As sell-through increased, the top line inventory shrunk, visual merchandising became easier, and the shop could create engaging displays Customers regularly made comments about how the store was easier to navigate, and the customer could purchase an older piece of merchandise that they had never seen before because it was actually on display for the first time and they could actually see it. Their backstock space limitations were less constricting because of the overall decrease in merchandise ownership. The store now exudes a premium look thanks to the newfound space that's available. I always give the example of what it's like to shop between two different shopping environments. One, like think a pawn shop or a vintage store or a consignment store, and think about what that feels like. It feels really closed in, it feels really crowded, and it doesn't exactly feel like it's super premium. Now think about going to a shop on Rodeo Drive, for instance. You walk in, it's breezy, it's really airy, and you can really see what that store is selling. You're not going to miss anything. You're going to put eyes on every single piece of merchandise that they carry. And it's something that when you have too much merchandise, the shopper is overwhelmed and they're not even going to give attention to everything that you sell. And you're going to miss out on sales ultimately because the duration that people are in your store is a lot less than what it should be. And then they're not even seeing probably what they want to buy. Another result was the difference in the sales staff. So we encouraged and taught our sales staffers how to become more engaged with customers. It was really important that we increased our selling metrics as part of this strategy. During 2020 and COVID business closures, our store foot traffic was some of the lowest that it had been in a long time. And so we needed conversion to be high. We needed items per receipt to be high. We needed the overall sales dollars on every receipt to be high. So we just needed to create a more engaging environment with our customers that actually came into the store. So our selling metrics increased because the sales staffers were getting more engaged. They were creatively presenting shoppers with several relevant options for what they were looking for. In addition, their selling strategy with the sales staff shifted to asking questions, solving problems, selling what is in stock versus just always special ordering an item for somebody, but really trying to solve the problem today with what is in stock. And then also our sales staffers guided our shoppers to not only shop for themselves, but shop for the entire family while you're here. So we really tried to spread out and shop for everybody, everyone's needs, your past, current, and future needs, all of it. We really tried to exhaust everything. So the shopper really had to say like, okay, I'm done shopping. Please leave me alone. I'm ready to check out. So that was a fun experience. So now the team is really proud of all the work that they've accomplished and that they have improved cash flow by so much. They've increased their operating cash basis an incredible amount. Their store metrics are increasing and their operations and their procedures are also becoming faster, easier to navigate. This has been Treads and Threads, Chris and Kelly. They have been an incredible asset to display what ManagementONE merchandise intelligence can do. We're using data and daily data on that to forecast within 94% what they're able to do in sales by category. And if you're a multi-location business, a multi-location retailer with multiple stores and e-commerce presence, we're able to do that across each location and each category in each location. It can seem overwhelming and kind of daunting, and who's going to look at all of these reports and all of this information, but it's really just, it's like you know how to drive, but you don't know where you're going, and I've got the map to give to you. So if you're interested in learning a little bit more about what some of the best retailers are doing to keep their cost of purchases down, to keep their inventory quick, and to know what the future looks like in terms of sales, inventory, receiving, margin, cash flow, give us a shout. So my phone number is 512-963-2528, or you can give me a shout at Carrie@outsidelooks.com. I hope you decide to make a change for the better today by looking us up. I'll talk to you soon. Thanks.